So yeah, I think I'm having a little bit of a midlife crisis, to be honest.
If you would like to learn about fairy folklore, delve into modern fairy faith spirituality, and explore fun and fanciful fairy-themed events, please subscribe to Fairy Fortunes for new videos every Friday.
Hello, my fair friends. I'm Ruby Ruse, and and I don't know what to say. This is the first video of 2023. I had a lot happen. So yeah, I think I'm having a little bit of a midlife crisis, to be honest. I was doing great for a while there. I went to Rogues and Ruffians in Baraboo, Wisconsin. I made some videos. I was so excited. Made the Hodag video. It was great. And then I came back from that trip and my house almost burned down. I know. I'm very grateful to be alive. My house obviously didn't burn down. Here I am in the YouTube studio. But I'm very serious, it nearly did. I happen to be a really light sleeper, so I heard my outlets sparking. Yeah, woke up and I ran downstairs and I threw the breaker and I could smell the electrical burning, but I was like, do I need the fire department? And I decided not to call the fire department. I didn't call 911. I just waited until it was a better hour of the morning to call an electrician. And so the electricians came out. I lost almost all of my electrical power. I did still have power to my front room, my living room area. So what I did is I ran an extension cord to the outlet that was still working in my living room, and I powered my refrigerator so that I wouldn't lose my food. And it was that way for a couple of weeks because the electricians came in and they would rig it so that I would have some power to function, but the entire house, I lost everything. I lost electrical power to pretty much everything, even in my detached garage. And everything had to be completely redone. And I was working. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to circle around to that. I was working at the time, and it was very difficult to get time off during that period of October. So I had to keep putting the repairs off and off until I was available to let the electricians in to do their work. So I only had about 1 or 2 days a week during the month of October when the electricians were coming in and working. So it took quite a bit of time for the electricians to finish the process of rewiring everything. So very scary. And actually, when they went into my master bedroom, they did actually find fire damage. They brought over the wires to me and they cut them open, and when they took the wire cutters and sheared the lines so you could see what was happening underneath the very charred and melted casings, you could smell the smoke of the fire damage. So actually, what's interesting is that my own bedroom was actually on fire when I cut the power. And the electricians were just so surprised that I had the wherewithal to run into my basement and cut the power to the house. And they wondered how I knew to do that. I'm like, it seemed like the right thing to do. And they were like, you weren't scared? And I'm like, not really. They were impressed that 911 never came out. So I dealt with that pretty much the entirety of October and November. It wasn't finished until well after Thanksgiving. It was very stressful. It was very very stressful. And everything was torn up in my house. It was really sad. The YouTube studio where I'm recording right now was in complete disarray. I didn't really have power down here. Anyway, I mean, I usually run the lights and the camera and things with battery power. But it just wasn't in a state to record any videos, and I wasn't in the mental state to record videos. I'm wearing a great watch. Do you like my watch? It's new. It's new. I got this in December. It's a retirement watch. I mentioned I'm having a little bit of a midlife crisis. Midlife crisis. I quit my job. Oh my God. Like, I'm sorry to like burst out into hysterical laughter during this video. Like, I don't really know what to do. So I'm just kind of enjoying the moment. So for those of you who don't know, I have mentioned this a little bit on the channel before, but for those of you who don't know, I was a police officer for 20 years of my life, which is, to me, that's a hefty chunk. Like, that's more than a quarter of most human lifespans to be in an occupation for 20 years. So that's an intense chunk of time in my opinion. But I am very proud of the work that I did, especially when I was doing event planning in community policing. I did a lot of work in domestic violence, and part of that was empowering survivors of domestic violence and inspiring them to be the person that they could be, that they authentically are. So I also was a trainer in the police department as well, and I can look back on the young police officers that I helped to train, that I hope I mentored, and I did have some evidence of that. I had a lot of young police officers tell me that I had helped them, that I had given them information that was useful to them, but I never really wanted to be a police officer. I got into police work because someone else thought it would be a good idea. And that someone else, it was really their own selfish reasons that they wanted me to be a police officer. I can say that I took that occupation and I ran with it, and I did, I think, the best that I could personally do. There were many reasons I quit my job, many. But several years ago, I think I was doing the World of Fairies Festival in South Elgin, and I was doing my makeup, and I caught myself in the makeup mirror, of course, and I realized I was smiling, and I had this epiphany. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm a happy person who smiles. Like, this is who I am authentically. I'm not a sad, depressed, negative person. This is not really who I am. And that just really changed everything for me. I'm like, this is the work that empowers me and moves me and inspires me and fulfills my life mission. Like, my life mission truly is that. I really want to empower and inspire people, and I really find that for me, I manifest that mission by entertaining. The creative world of song and storytelling, of which to me fortune telling is a part, magic is a part of that. That is my life purpose. That is what I feel called to do in this world. I feel very proud of the work that I did, but I was kind of losing that necessary life purpose of empowering and inspiring people. The other thing, I was so odd too. Like, I'm sorry, like, I'm a fortune teller, like, it just is a part of me. And so I would do strange things. I did a lot of creepy stuff as a police officer, where I would just randomly know things about people that I shouldn't have known. I didn't really have a problem with the sadness. It is a very challenging position. You see a lot of terrible things. I felt like I was capable of sitting with the sadness. I had somebody ask me like how I dealt with all of the trauma that I witnessed, and I said to them, I was honest. I didn't ever try to bury the pain. I never wanted to lie about my feelings. And I thought it was important for people to see that you can still have pain and not be okay, and still be able to sit with other people and say, it's okay if you're not okay. I'm not either. Let's be here together. And that was largely how I survived 20 years as a very sensitive person in an occupation that really isn't kind. When people asked me if I was okay, I got into the habit of saying no. Nope, but I will be. And that was not the answer that they wanted to hear. They did not want to know that I wasn't okay. And the other thing is that they had a very specific expectation of what not okay was. They didn't want me to be not okay and yet still functional. Like, that just didn't compute to them. It didn't correlate. It didn't conjoin. It just was hard. I was hard for them to process. I disrupted the order of how things were, how things had always been. And so that was very challenging, not just for me, but for my coworkers and people that had to regularly interact with me. Anyway, another reason that I was able to do such difficult work, like I said, I'm a sensitive person in a job that was not kind and really wasn't very tolerant of sensitive people. But how I got through was when I book festivals, you book festivals like months in advance. So, usually before this end of spring, I had already planned out which festivals I was going to do, where I was going to be traveling. A lot of times I even had lists of videos that I was planning on making, that kind of thing. I had things to look forward to. It's like, okay, this life right now is really hard, but in July, I'm doing Run in the Glen. In August, I'm going to do the World of Fairies Festival. In October, I'm going to do a gathering of Roads and Ruffians. Like, I had a lineup of things to look forward to that were able to get me through. And towards the end of 2022, that all just became impossible. All of my coping strategies were taken away from me. The reason that I left is that it became impossible to do fairy fortunes. That's why I left, actually. Like, nobody sat me down and said, you have to, give up your YouTube channel. Actually, a lot of my coworkers, secretly watch this channel. They're not subscribed, though. I know you're not, so I see you. I see you watching. So just hit the like and subscribe button, damn it. So there, I know you're out there, you little police officers, getting your fix of weirdness. You miss me, I know you do. Anyway, nobody sat me down and said, you have to give up your YouTube channel. You can't be a fortune teller and a fairy and all this other stuff. You have to decide. Be a police officer and nothing else. No one sat me down and did that, but they didn't have to, because my municipality just made it impossible for you to be anything else. I wanted to be authentic, And I knew that I was going to lose who I was entirely without being able to do this as well. So I had to make a choice. I had to choose between fairy fortunes and law enforcement. And ultimately, I decided to choose fairy fortunes. And I know I made the right choice. I do. And I thought about doing a longer video on law enforcement and why I left and my opinions on the occupation and things like. If you're interested in that's not really what this channel is about, but if you're interested in that type of video, I have been toying with the idea of making a video like that, so please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So it's going to be interesting because for the last 20 years I did lose a little bit of authenticity. Like when I started doing fairy fortunes regularly in 2018, like I said, I had that epiphany where I was like, oh my God, I'm not a negative person. Like that is not who I am authentically. Authentically, I'm happy and I want to inspire people. And I have such joy for life. It's going to be a journey living in that mindset full time. I hope that you will join me on this journey in my house that's very safe. So that's what's been going on. That's why I've been away. That's why the videos during 2022 were very sporadic. I really just didn't have, I had no time to make them. Kind of a rambly video, isn't this? I told you, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's been a while. So, leave me a comment down below. Ask me some questions about law enforcement if you like. Let me know what kind of videos that you're interested in for 2023. And I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful to be alive. 2023, I'm sure, is going to be fraught with its own. Let's not repeat the dumpster fire that the 20s have been. Come on now, let's just not go there. Can we have a better year, for crying out loud? Anyway, I'm hopeful. But you know what? If there are new challenges, I'm here to tell you that we're going to weather them. And maybe we won't be okay, but we will be eventually. So let's do it together, okay? And with that, my fair friends, have a magical day.